Welcome. Today, we are mapping out your entire journey to becoming a full-stack web developer. Think of this as your personal guide, taking you from zero to building a modern web application from the ground up. Have you ever landed on a really cool, complex website and just thought, how in the world did they build that? Or maybe you've got a killer app idea, but you have absolutely no clue where to even begin. Well, you're in the right place. This is your answer. We're gonna break down that whole seemingly impossible journey into a really clear, manageable path. So let's dive in. All right, first up, part one. We're gonna start at the front end. This is everything your user actually sees, clicks on, and interacts with. You know, it's the visual heart and soul of your application. Okay, so before you write even a single line of code, you have to get this one core idea. Your web browser, that's the client, it asks a server, which is just a powerful computer somewhere out on the internet, for a web page. The server finds it and sends it right back. That simple little conversation, that's the foundation of the entire web. Now, to get started, you really only need two essential tools, and the best part is they're both completely free. You need a code editor, something like VS Code, which is where you'll be writing all your code. And you'll need your browser's developer tools. They are just incredibly useful for figuring out what's going on and seeing how other websites are put together. First up is HTML. Honestly, the best way to think about this is as the skeleton of your website. It's not pretty on its own, but it gives you all the fundamental structure. You know, the headings, the paragraphs, the images. Every single web page on the internet is built on an HTML foundation. So, if HTML is the skeleton, then CSS is the style. It's the clothes, the skin, the whole visual design. CSS takes that basic, bony structure and adds all the colors, the fonts, the spacing, and the layouts that make it actually look good. And finally, we get to add the brains and the muscle with JavaScript. This is what makes a web page interactive. Anytime you click a button, see a pop-up, or watch content update without reloading the page, yep, that's JavaScript at work. It's what brings the whole thing to life. So once you've got the basics down, it's time to level up. You'll start with responsive design, which is all about making your sites look amazing on any device, from a huge desktop monitor to a tiny phone screen. Then you'll check out CSS frameworks like Tailwind, which give you pre-built components so you can style your sites way faster. And finally, you'll start using JavaScript libraries like jQuery to handle common tasks with a lot less code. Okay, so we've covered the front end. Now let's go behind the curtain and take a look at the back end. This is the digital engine room, the part that powers everything from behind the scenes. But before we dive into that engine, there's one tool that is, and I mean this, absolutely essential. It's called Git. It's a system that tracks every single change you make to your code. Think of it like a time machine for your project, or the ultimate tool for working in a team. It is a must-learn for any developer, period. With the system for managing our code in place, let's look at the two big pieces of the back end. The server is the computer that actually runs your application's logic. And the database, well, that's like the organized filing cabinet where all your data, user profiles, blog posts, you name it, gets stored. Now to control that server, you need a language. And here's the great news. You don't need to learn all of them. Just pick one. Node.js is awesome if you already know JavaScript because you can use the same language everywhere. Python is super popular. It's known for being beginner-friendly, but it's also incredibly powerful. And of course, there's PHP, a true classic that powers a huge chunk of the web, so you'll never run out of support. So how does that beautiful front end actually get data from the powerful back end? Through something called an API. Think of it like a waiter in a restaurant. Your front end places an order, and the API takes that order to the back end kitchen. For example, when you sign up for a new account, the front end sends a create request to the API. These requests are almost always one of the four basic CRUD operations: create, read, update, or delete data. And where does that data actually live? In a database. You've basically got two main flavors. SQL databases are like super organized spreadsheets, perfect for structured data. NoSQL databases, on the other hand, are more like a folder full of documents, which gives you a lot more flexibility. Eventually, you'll want to get comfortable with both. Okay, now it's time to connect the dots. In this phase, we're going to bring the front end and the back end together to create one single cohesive application. This is where it gets really fun. This is where it all truly comes together. You'll connect that sign-up form on your front end to your back-end database. So when a user actually fills it out, that data gets saved for real. You'll also tackle authentication, letting users sign up and log in, which is a fundamental piece of almost every web app out there. Building it is one thing, but sharing it with the world, that's the goal, right? This is called deployment, and it sounds way more complicated than it is. It really just boils down to 3 simple steps. First, pick a hosting service to put your code online. Second, get a unique domain name. And third, add an SSL certificate for security. That's what gives you that little padlock in the browser bar. So you've built and deployed a project. Awesome. What's next? The journey doesn't end here. This is how you go from just following a map to actually drawing your own. The single best way to learn any of this is by building. Just build stuff. Start with a personal portfolio to show off your work. It's a great way to practice your front-end skills. Then, try building a real blog from scratch. That's going to force you to work with a database and use those CRUD functions we talked about. After that, maybe a simple e-commerce site. Each project solidifies your skills and teaches you something new. And trust me, the learning never stops. From here, you can dive into incredibly powerful front-end frameworks like React, which let you build really complex user interfaces. You could also explore DevOps, which is all about how software is built and released professionally. And most importantly, you can start building projects that solve real-world problems. So here's the bottom line. The entire path is laid out right in front of you, from the most basic building blocks to launching a full, complete application. The map is in your hands.